With the coming of the new year, everyone wants to know what 2014 will hold for themselves and the world. Futurists do their best to predict what events will come about over the next 12 months, as well as how current trends will affect and be affected by what happens around the world. Some of the predictions announced by forecasters turn out exactly as they predict. Others land far from the mark. Still, a few forecasters have been around for years due to the accuracy of their predictions. One of the best-known futurists in the country is Gerald Celente. He's the publisher of the TrendsJournal. He's also the founder of the TrendsResearchInstitute, as well as the best-selling author of Trends 2000 and Trend Tracking. He's appeared on several of the largest media outlets in the world, offering his predictions for the future, and his forecasts have often proved to be highly accurate. Gerald Celente is our guest on the program today. He's here to talk to us about current trends in society and politics. We'll also discuss where our world may be headed during the coming year. He'll also offer us one of the best glimpses that we may be able to get into events yet to come over the rest of this new year. We'll also ask him that question that pops up in nearly every time travel movie. Can we change the future? Welcome back to the program, Gerald.
Thanks for having me, Gary.
Now, Gerald, what are some of the most important trends happening today in societies around the world, including the United States?
Well, excluding the United States, one of the biggest trends is the populist movement that's going on. And populism has different definitions by whatever media likes to write about it. But essentially, it means that throughout the world, countries, or people within countries, are tired of losing their national identity. They're tired of predatory multinationals putting people out of business that had businesses passed on from generations. Now they can't compete. Populists are against the loss of national identity and having another entity outside their country dictate for them what they must do and how they must do it. Populists are disgusted with the ruling political parties. But what the media tends to do is they lump them all into one umbrella and they throw pejorative terms around it. So they'll call them neo-fascists or neo-Nazis, anti-immigration, anti-Semitic, anti-Muslim. But what it really is, it's a people's loss of not only their identity, their nationality, and their culture, but what really drives the point home is that they've lost their money too. So throughout Europe, you have the pitchfork movement taking place in Italy that began in Sicily, that's now spread over the entire country. You have the Golden Dawn movement in Greece, of course, derided by the people in power as being neo-Nazi. And I'm not judging anybody. I'm just telling you what the deal is. You have it in Belgium. You have it in Hungary. You have it in the Netherlands. You have Le Pen's movement in France. You have it spreading around the world. Look what's happened in India. India never makes the news. We could talk about the Duck Dynasty or the Kardashians, but we won't talk about India, so I'll just throw it in quickly. It's only a country of 1 billion people. And what they did, they just had an election, state elections, and out of nowhere emerged the Common Man Party. And what is it based on? Corruption. And then you look at you go to Thailand, same thing going on there. Hundreds of thousands of people, they've closed down basically Bangkok, and the government's in turmoil. The people haven't left the streets now for over a month.
Gerald, I want to go back to what you just said about populist movements being excluded in the United States. We have the Occupy movement that we're familiar with, the Tea Party movement, the Liberty movement in the United States. What is happening with populist movements today that would cause you to say that that we should exclude the United States in that discussion?
First of all, it's important to also understand that I'm the guy that talked about tax-based revolts happening before the Tea Party. And in my book, Trends 2000, I literally in 1996 wrote about occupying Wall Street. So I saw these things coming. But when you go to the Occupy movements, two things. It was too loosely structured, And when you get out of line, the police beat you up in this country. What are they, protest zones? So you're not allowed to protest because the police are becoming forces for the political gangs and the financial institutions. And then when you look at the Tea Party, it was co-opted and then it became stratified and lost its really broad scope. So what will it take in the United States? I believe it'll take a strong third-party movement. A strong third-party movement with a fundamental element that no one's really talking about. Try this one on. How about a self-sufficiency economy? We're 316 million people. Our pants, our shirts, our shoes, they're made in foreign countries. Our glassware, our dishes, made in foreign countries. Electronics, made in foreign countries. So if you had a populist movement, we're an extremely rich nation. It's just been squandered. So if you had a populist movement, putting those elements together. Oh, the other element, by the way, that they deride these populist movements around the world, anti-immigration. Guess what? I am too. We have 316 million people in this country. We don't need anybody else until we can take care of who we have. So that's not being anti, it's not being closed-minded. And I'm of Italian descent. They wouldn't allow my cousins and aunts and uncles coming in after the crash of 1929 till about the mid-50s because we didn't have the resources to take care of those people. So when you look at what it will take for a populist movement, it needs to be a third-party movement structured with a cause. And again, part of the cause being a self-sufficiency economy and not being involved in foreign entanglements, a restructuring of the country to the way it used to be.
Now, when you say third-party movement, third-party populist movement, are you referring to political party?
Yes. Yeah, because it has to generate with strength. And right now, this is not a democracy. That's only for little boys and girls. We have a gang of 535. You saw the latest numbers. Over half of Congress are multimillionaires. So they don't represent us. They represent the most powerful and the people and the richest elements. So we have a gang of 535. We don't have a representative form of government. That has to change. And a populist movement, by the way, one of the foundations of a populist movement, my belief would be, if you belong to a political gang, you are not representing the people, you're representing the interests of that party. They call them parties. I like to call them the Bloods and the Crips because, after all, they're murderous. Hey, how about some drone strikes, illegal wars, killing, slaughtering millions of people, and they're thieves. How about too big to fail, robbing us of our money and other dirty deals that they do.
Gerald, speaking of money, last time you were on the program, you said that America was on a fast track to Q1 economic collapse of the dollar. Are we still moving in that direction? And could you give us a quick synopsis if that was to fully...
Not so much of the dollar, but a collapse of the... We're looking into... We're saying by the second quarter of 2000, one of our forecasts is an economic panic. And we wrote that back in December. So now you look at what's going on in the world. Look what happened with the new year beginning. Hey, how about those lovely unemployment numbers came out? Oh, yeah, what did they... The street said there'd be 200,000 plus. Only 74,000 jobs were created. And when you look at those 70,000 jobs, 40,000 of those were temporary. Hey, look at the stock markets around the world. They're all starting off on a big down note, particularly the emerging markets. So, and now there's no recovery. So what we're saying is now after the tapering happened, and they say they're going to have more of it possibly in January, here's our forecast. Another round of tapering will destroy any type of economic growth. And that we believe they'll be forced to come in with another round of tapering, but in white shoe boy language, they won't call it stimulus. Excuse me, they'll have another round of stimulus, not after the tapering, they'll have another round of stimulus, but they won't call it quantitative easing or stimulus. They'll make up something else. When that happens, gold and silver and precious metal prices will skyrocket. I mentioned how the year's beginning on a down note, not in precious metals. There's a slight rebound because in the precious metals market, they're looking for more stimulus. And it's not only here, it's in China, it's in Japan, it's in the European Union. They're all pumping money into the systems to keep them up.
So basically what you're forecasting based on the trends is that another round of a stimulus, but it won't be called a stimulus. So you're going to create some more, or try to create some more financial activity under another name, as they did under like sort of a QE situation. But this is now going to be under the new Federal Reserve Chairman.
Yes, still new Federal Reserve Chairman, new name. But again, we don't believe that's going to happen until they throw in a second round of tapering, which means, of course, the Federal Reserve, you go back to, 2008, they were sitting on, about $850 billion worth of debt. Now it's over $4 trillion. So
how is this going to affect the average American citizen in 2014? Their quality of life?
It's going down. Look at again, over the last 10 years, for the majority of the people, their median household income is down almost 12%. It'll just mean more of a decline. Again, it goes back to job creation. And I'm not creating these numbers out of thin air. They're not creating jobs. And the ones that they're creating stink. And when you look again, go back to November's numbers on income growth. What did it grew? 0.2%. Go back to October's. It was minus 0.1. And this is a global issue. And again, it all ties back to why populist movements are really strong. Because what do? The economies go down. Your income is going down. I got an idea. I'm a political stooge. Let's raise the people's taxes as they're paying less. Oh, and then in the United States, Obamacare. That's right. Or Obama, I don't care. Here's the deal. Go back to when El Presidente lied, as one of his many times, and I'm a political atheist. They all lie. Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction, ties to Al-Qaeda. I smoked, but I didn't inhale. I could keep going on. But anyway, he said during the 2012 elections that he would not raise taxes on the people. Ta-da! They raised Social Security payroll taxes. What happened to retail sales? Beep, went down. Now with Obamacare, we're being forced to buy health insurance.
And I want to go deeper into Obamacare in just a moment, but I want to ask you about...
It ties into the retail sales, because that means that people that are buying Obamacare can no longer support the retail sector. Then you go back to looking at Christmas sales, and you could see the softness. So you asked me, what does it mean to the average person? When you put the whole picture together, they got less dough.
Fascinating. Fascinating how the impact of just a few parts of the economy really changed. I mean, with the impact of retail sales, Obamacare, taxes. But what about technology? How is technology and new advances going to change the dynamic between the government and the people? We now see the Consumer Electronics Show was recently in Las Vegas. Tracking bracelets with smart chips in them. People are essentially chipping themselves, if you will, with these devices. How do you see the integration with technology, the NSA tracking, all these things that's taking place in the next year?
I have an issue with myself over here. I keep calling myself an American. And the issue being that I believe upon what this country was founded upon, and the founding fathers. I know they had slaves. I know the story. But the founding fathers did a lot of great things. And I believe in them. And I believe in all of what Franklin and Jefferson and Madison and Washington said and warned us about a central government in so many ways taking over our rights. And that if you gave up those rights, you deserved neither freedom nor liberty. And so I have a real issue with these two big judges dressed up in black robes like they're somebody, determining and deciphering what the Constitution and the Bill of Rights means to me. And what the flunkies have done, these appointees and these political hacks, again, playing judge, have done is saying that it's legal for the NSA and these governments, these government spies to watch every element of our lives. And again, go back to what I said about a populist movement. Where's the outrage? Where's the fighting back? Look at the cars now. It's mandatory that they'll be having these black boxes in them in a few years, and they're going to be watching everything, listening to everything that you're doing. They'll be monitoring you constantly. So Orwell's dream of Big Brother is greater than he could have ever imagined. And it's not going to stop until the people protest, and I don't see that happening. There's going to be greater government intrusion on our lives. And who are these people that are watching us? Just so we make this really clear, they're a bunch of private contractors. Just to put it into perspective, the little SOB that's the head of Booz Allen Hamilton, guy's name is what, McConnell or something like that, McDonald. You know who he was? He was the head of the NSA under Clinton. You want to talk about a revolving door? It's another element of the military-industrial complex. This has nothing to do with protecting us. It has to do with them making money and keeping us under control. So when you look at the budget from the NSA and all of these spying operations, according to the Financial Times, it's $90 billion. Hey, don't bail out Detroit. Want to have a picnic in Camden? Lovely day in Trenton. How about some pleasurable spots in East St. Louis? So what I'm saying, Gary, is they're not only robbing us of our dignity, they're robbing us of our future by this phony element that they have to spy on us. Because when you look at the facts, all of these billions spent have stopped nothing, or they haven't found anything that would have prevented, quote, terrorism.
Is President Obama already a lame duck president, or can he regain his once populist support?
President Obama has been a lame duck president since he became president. What has he accomplished? Nothing, other than not fulfilling his promises. I'll close Guantanamo. Hey, we'll be out of Afghanistan by 2014. You know, one lie after another. I'm going to do away with the Patriot Act, and then he signs the National Defense Authorization Act and reinstates the Patriot Act to make it worse than it was before. Lame duck. It's a disgrace. But not only does the emperor have no clothes, maybe he doesn't even have a tailor from the way he dresses. It's Congress. It's a Congress of clowns, Republicans and Democrats. They're destroying the nation. Am I making that up? Is that rhetoric? How about I'll freak you out with going over a fiscal cliff. I'll play that one out for 2 years. Getting near that fiscal cliff. Oh, now we're going to hit a debt ceiling. I got an idea. Let's close down Congress. Obama, you mean the Nobel Peace Prize winner that destroyed Libya, that sends predator drones into sovereign nations, wipes out wedding parties? Don't worry about it. We got it nailed down. There's not going to be any more collateral damage, and if it does, too bad. So what president? What Congress? We have a corrupt system that's destroying the country in front of everybody's eyes. What is it going to take for a wake-up call?
So I'll ask you, the impact of Obamacare, is that a wake-up call for America?
It should be, because again, it's not a partisan issue. Who could have launched a program like this of such great magnitude and all this publicity and it being such a chronic failure? And then you look at the group that put it together. Where were they from? Oh, Canada. Oh, yeah, we don't have any people around here that could do it. And who is the woman that's the United States representative that built the system that represents the Canadian company? Oh, son of a gun, Michelle Obama's classmate at Princeton. I mean, can't people see what's going on? Whether it's that moron over in New Jersey, Christie, and his flunky crew closing down lanes of the George Washington Bridge, or whether it's these generals that are waging war in foreign countries and destroying them and accomplishing nothing, or Obamacare, it's one losing venture after another. How much more proof do people need? I got an idea. Let's start a war on drugs. We'll have it going on for 20 years, make it spend $1 trillion, and then we'll legalize marijuana.
So do you believe that America has officially lost the war on drugs at this point?
They never won anything. And what have they done? How about the education system? We spend more than any other country, and we don't even win, place, or show. I'm going to hire an education czar. This is kiddie crap. Nothing they do works. Name me a war that America won since World War II. Oh, Grenada, I forgot. Hey, how about launching aircraft carriers with Gerald Ford? $13 billion. And now we're going to have Pivot Asia. We're going to go more into Afghanistan, into Africa. You got a bunch of losers in control. This is reminiscent of World War I. You had a bunch of psychopaths and sociopaths, generals and politicians, that led the world into, quote, the greatest war that was the greatest failure that could have been avoided. And we're doing the same thing now. So
well, now, and Fallujah just fell to al-Qaeda forces. What's your take there?
Again, read my trend forecasts. Go back to the TrendsJournal, 2004, doing the Iraq drag. I wrote about what liars and losers the American military and administration was. I have quotes for you. I can remember them off the top of my head. Yeah. The Iraq War in 2003, what's his name? Cheney, Dick Cheney, or is it Cheney, said the Iraq War is behind us. This guy, Major General Ordinario, the guy that was the head of the command. Yeah, we have 6 to 12 more months before the insurgency ends. You had Rumsfeld and Powell lying that they knew where the weapons of mass destruction are. They've created chaos, according to the numbers, depending on whose you look at. It's between 500,000 to 1 million Iraqis have been slaughtered thanks to the coalition of the willing. 5,000 of our troops dead. Hundreds of thousands of them destroyed for life, losing their minds, limbs, and future. What Fallujah? Well, you could see it was going. What Fallujah? How about the whole damn country is destroyed for a war fought under false pretenses, invading a sovereign country? You know what I like to see, Gary? I want to see war crime tribunals. I want to see who knew what when. If they could do it in Nuremberg, they could do it for this.
Now, moving into the 2014 elections in Congress, how do you think that those elections are going to impact the activities in Washington? Or should the American people simply ignore Washington altogether, focus on themselves and their families?
Well, you have to focus on yourself and your families. And again, to me, it doesn't change until the individual changes. What's going to happen in 2014? What jerks are going to come in? Will it be more Republicans and more Democrats? More the same losers? Again, fiscal cliff, debt ceiling, closing down Washington, one destructive deed after another. So which morons will be in charge? And then, of course, with great anticipation, will Hillary Clinton run, in 2016? Will Biden oppose her? Will it be Ryan, or will it be Cruz? Will it be Abbott or Costello? Will it be Larry Moe or Curley? You got a bunch of losers out there that are destroying the country in front of our eyes. Hey, how about the Duck Dynasty?
Gerald, can the future be changed?
Yes. When the individuals change, when the people get their courage and dignity back and stop looking up to these morons and losers, psychopaths and sociopaths. Look what happened to Germany. 1930s. The country is at the height of Western civilization. Culturally, philosophically, scientifically. You look at the German names from Bach, Beethoven, Wagner, Goethe, Einstein, to Fritz Lang and Marlene Dietrich. And then you go back, how could they let a little jerk, a freak like Hitler destroy their country? Well, come to the United States. You got them right here. You have people destroying the country as the populations either support them or look the other way. The future is only going to be changed when the individual spirit rises and they call it what it is and they take the future into their own hands. So I believe it could be done in a number of ways. Number one, no, we need a third party. Number two, I believe in direct democracy. By the way, that's what happened in India with the Common Man Party. It's what's being practiced in Switzerland. Switzerland, richest country in the world. Food's great. Haven't been in a war since what? 1850s. Everybody has guns and they don't kill each other. The people vote on the issues. They don't have politics. Who's the president of Switzerland? Nobody knows. The people don't. The people vote. They represent themselves. And that's what happened with the Common Man Party in India. One of the major platforms is direct democracy. And number three, a self-sufficient economy. Put up the trade barriers that, I'm not an isolationist, I travel the world. Put up the trade barriers. This isn't free trade. It's buying our stuff that multinationals get made in slave labor countries, like the riots they have in Cambodia and Bangladesh. The people are making $60 a month. And what you do is restore the laws that were put in place so we, the people, have an opportunity to be entrepreneurs. The Robinson-Patman Act, Sherman Antitrust Act, Clayton Antitrust Act, that have been ripped apart, Glass-Steagall Act, by these criminal elements called senators, congressmen, and presidents. Put those back into place. Restore America. It can be done if the people have the will to do it and the courage to stand up against this tyranny. That's the NSA, the Pentagon, Washington, and the rest of the agencies, CIA, FBI. And when the local police stop breaking our chops and go after the real criminals, you haven't seen one head on Wall Street roll, despite the billions of dollars of fines and never admitting nor denying that they've committed a crime. So when the police start going after the real gangs, not only the slime down at the lower end, but up at the top, then we'll have justice and freedom, and it will ring in America as the country rises to the levels where it should be.
So, Gerald, history is written by the victors. What will be said 50 years, 100 years from now when they look back on this period of time? What do you believe will be said?
They'll look back at it and write just what they're writing about with World War I. How a bunch of lunatics destroyed millions of people and nobody did anything to stop it. They'll look back at it as they look back at Rome. They'll look back at it if one civilization after another, names known and unknown, that have risen and fallen for all the same reasons. And the same thing's going on now. What, do we have Nero fiddling? No, we got Obama playing golf. And look at these people. Again, look at the numbers. What is that, Pelosi? What is she worth, like $147 million? What, because she's so bright? I mean, come on. You can see what's happening. Our future is being robbed from us like the future of other civilizations have been destroyed.